Hey guys, so I have something really special for you all. This is so impromptu, but I was on my LinkedIn page earlier and I saw this amazing post by Miss Tucker, who is the valedictorian for Virginia State University's 2019 graduating class on Sunday. So I hit her up in her DMs and was like, please let me interview you, and I want you to give my viewers your perspective on living your best life, because it's not easy. I mean, she posted her whole resume of all of the things that she accomplished leading up to this. I don't know Miss Tucker very well, but what I will tell you is that I had a client July of last year who brought her to one of my networking events, and we missed each other just because we're busy being awesome women, and she was busy becoming valedictorian this year, and I see now. So I have tons of questions, and I do want to encourage you guys to ask her questions either here on Facebook or when I post this on my YouTube later. So first, how did you become, Miss Valedictorian? I mean, what even inspired you to want to do that?
So it goes back to my god sister. I was at her graduation. She graduated from Virginia State. She's a single mom of 3 boys. And I'm sitting in the nosebleed of the Coliseum, that section, and I'm just like, I'm going to do this. Oh, wow. I'm going to be valedictorian. Wow. If she can do it, I can do it.
Okay, so she was valedictorian.
No, she wasn't.
Okay.
She just was graduating. Okay. I had been out of school at that time, I think maybe 9 or 10 years, maybe 11 at the time. And it was just something that I had a desire, being there in the presence of everything. I'm like, I have to do this. Okay. I have to do this.
So you went back to school after 11 years?
After 11 years.
Wow.
I graduated.
Became valedictorian. You go, girl.
And I hated school, though. I hated school.
Wow.
I did.
So what did you get your undergrad in?
My undergrad is in business management.
Okay. Woo woo.
With an HR concentration.
Okay.
So.
And then you're getting your degree in what now?
No, this is my undergrad.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a while for me to be in school too. So
no, this is an undergrad.
Okay.
I hadn't been in school since high school.
Oh wow! So you didn't go straight to college and
nothing.
Wow. If you don't mind me and my viewers knowing, how old are you?
I am 33.
Wow. So this is awesome. I told you I don't know sis beyond a high and by. So this is awesome. Yeah. So we're the same age. You're a little bit older than me. I'm 32. I'll be 33 in October. Okay. And you took 11 years off of school from high school. And then did a 4-year run.
5 years.
Yeah?
Yeah. I started out part-time. So I was working full-time at Capital One. And when I started my journey in 2014, 2 classes a semester, which seemed like graduating was going to take forever. So. Yeah.
All right. So you're sitting in the nosebleeds. You're watching your cousin graduate, single mom of 3. What is the Tiffany Tucker story?
Tiffany Tucker's story. First of all, I hated school when I was in high school. It was just like, I'll do what's necessary.
And what high school did you go to?
Matoaka High School.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Right.
I was only there for 1 year. But,
okay.
And so having a child, I have an 11-year-old son at the time.
Okay, that makes sense.
Back then, I think my son may have been 5. And I wanted something more for him. Like, I've always been a go-getter. I've always had the grind mentality, but it was something more that I needed. And being at Capital One, I was an auditor. I mean, with no degree. I mean, I think I was making pretty decent money. But it was like I was missing something. My supervisors couldn't help me. Managers, they couldn't get me to the next level. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go to school, maybe I need to go to the military. So I attempted to go to the military. That didn't work out. And school was the next option. Okay. Pretty much the last option for me. And it was like, being at her graduation, which happened to be the spring prior to me starting my process, I'm like, I have to do this.
Wow.
Didn't know what it was going to be like, didn't know how I was going to do it, but spring 2014, January 2014, I started.
Awesome. I think you're awesome. I really do. So what was your toughest moment throughout the entire process, all of these accolades, and I'll let you list some of them, and please, you guys, it's amazing, the things that she's accomplished. You know, I'll let you, because I couldn't begin to get them right, but you know, what was the toughest thing that comes to mind from the entire time of taking that much time off of school, going back, being an adult learner, and now valedictorian, girl, you're I mean, it's awesome, right? Yeah.
So the toughest thing through this entire journey was the moment I lost my job from Capital One. I had to make a choice to go back to work or to go to school full time. And being a single mother, you know, it's like, oh, I have real bills to pay, car payment, house note, what have you. My son is dependent on me. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do, sis? Like, you know, I've been working since I was 14 years old. You lose your job, and it's kind of like, I don't know, what am I going to do? Here's an opportunity for me to go to school full time. Is this the right decision? Had a job at SunTrust, and I hated it. I've never quit a job, but
I had a job at SunTrust.
I hated it. The environment was horrible.
Somebody's liking that.
It was horrible. Sorry, you know.
Right.
You know, no shade, but it wasn't for me.
Right.
And so I was faced with making a choice of, okay, are you going to go and work for somebody, or are you going to take advantage of this opportunity?
So what did that look like for you? How did you make that? What was obviously the decision was to continue school.
Absolutely.
But how did you juggle those life responsibilities while you were doing that?
So I've always been big on finances, and I had, you know, my finances set up to a place where I'm like, okay, I can do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I know I can do this. And so I had to follow my heart, because it was so heavy on my heart, and I came from a place of needing to know the end result. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to go to school full time. Like, this is the opportunity. You know, not a lot of companies are flexible with working from home and things like that. And I had that luxury at Capital One, you know, but I was like, I'm going to do this. And my mom's like, look, you have a child, you have house note, you have bills, car payment. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. And I was like, okay. But it was heavy on my heart, and I was like, I'm doing it. And I'm not second guessing my heart. I'm going to follow it, because at the end of the day, I have to be satisfied and happy with the decisions that I'm making for my son's life and myself. You know, so from that point on, it was like, I'm doing this. It was no looking back. And at that time, I was kind of like in a rocky place. I went through a breakup, and it was like, okay, well, you can't sit here and keep thinking about those things. You have to move forward. And full time was the answer.
So who were and are your role models?
My role models.
Like, who are those women that you look at and you are just like, ooh, I want to be like her? And you know, you can include me in that one. No, I'm just joking.
So my role models.
Yeah.
Like my mother. My mother is a single mother. Well, at the time, she was a single mother of two. I have a sister. She is 9 years younger than me, and being a single mother is not an easy job, because all of the responsibilities are on you. And if you have a good support system, if you don't, like, it just depends on how the process of being a single mother will go. And my mother, like, I know she struggled, but I never saw it. And like, I never went with, like, I don't, it was just her and her strength. My grandparents, like my grandmother, like, she is the one who really got me into the finances part, because I'm like, she's writing down every month, I gotta pay this bill, I got this credit card, and gotta keep your credit, you know. So my grandmother, my mother, some of my sorors now, they definitely.
And what sorority do you belong to?
Alpha Kappa, Alpha sorority.
Can y'all tell?
Absolutely, you know.
I was doing that. I told I self-proclaimed, because I was amongst, what were they, the Zeta, which is the one that I was telling you about earlier?
Oh, Deltas. I
Right, so the Deltas, and I am not neither. So I am just self-inducting. I had my pearls on today, I had a green t-shirt on, and I was I'm self-inducted, aka today.
Absolutely.
And when I was at Virginia State, they were the only sorority that reached out and welcomed me. I had the GPA.
The first and finest, honey.
Amen.
No shade, no shade.
Right, no shade. Hashtag no shade. Look at this one. All right, so what is your best life? When all of this hard work, pays off, what does that look like for you?
Being the light in somebody else's darkness.
So who do you want that light to shine on?
Have it be my son, my mentees, anyone that I come in contact with, because at the end of the day, it's about adding value. Being an asset, not a liability. And so living my best life is more of me being able to give back and, me to be that example to say, you don't want to be me, but you want to be something like me. Let me be that example. Let me tell you, hey, go after high school, go straight to college, because you don't want to get, in a situation where you have a family and then you have to juggle bills and children and a husband or a wife, and then you're pursuing this degree, So, living my best life is being able to share my story and, encourage someone along the way, because I have a lot of people who encourage me, and they're always rooting for me. And everybody doesn't have that.
Right. So what's next? You graduate Sunday.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be on stage.
You're gonna sing.
Right. So what's next? What happens next? Monday.
So that's when the next phase of planning my life.
Okay.
Because now I have the degree, and I want my degree to work for me, not me working for my degree. And so it's pretty much setting up a plan to see what I'm going to do. Like, I know that I'm going straight for my PhD. And that's not heard of, to go from bachelor's to PhD. It's rare. But
normally that's why it didn't register with me earlier. So master's then PhD.
Yeah. Okay. However, it's out there because they want more minorities to become professors.
Awesome.
And that's the goal. So right now, and it's a process. So right now the goal is, all right, what am I going to do up until I start my PhD program? Cool. Yep. So.
Okay.
I mean, planning it out.
All right, well, I'm going to switch gears, sis. So, okay, we got business taken care of. You got your son holding down. Family's happy with you. Is there a love in your life? Are you planning, or are you dating? Are you interested in marriage? Like, what do you advocate when it comes to the personal stuff?
Well, I am single.
Single!
I am single.
Okay.
I do want to get married.
Before you answer my next part of your question, why do you believe someone who's 33 years old, we're going to, why do you believe that someone is 33 years old, educated, awesome mom, all these other things, what has been your dating experience?
It could be area. It could be holding on to past relationships. I mean, I don't know sometimes.
What do you think?
I mean, I'm a very confident woman, but I'm not cocky, and I'm independent, but not that, hey, it's, I can have someone. And I think sometimes that can be intimidating.
So what's your attitude? What's your attitude towards dating? Are you the person that puts yourself out there? Are you the person that's reserved and you got a couple of guys that are interested and you kind of are weighing your options? What's your approach to dating?
My approach to dating, I'm just getting back into dating, I would say. And so maybe I'm leaning towards putting myself out there, maybe. It's a little different because as a woman, my view is it takes the man to be interested. Because women, we can be interested, but if you don't have that, you don't catch that man's eye, it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Well, how long have you been single since?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh that hard. My bad. It got real.
It's been a minute.
Okay.
I've been in a situationship that went on for quite some time, but like a long committed. It's been okay. I'll say a year, but technically 3 years. It's just been a situation,
Right. Well, I say that you speak. No, I mean, I know it's kind of awkward to switch gears to that, but what I've seen and what I've observed and what I've experienced is women like us, career, educated, hard working, beautiful, either can't get a man or can't keep a man. That's the understanding. And I'm in this whole season of ministering to women and encouraging women to break traditional views towards dating and that. So I just wanted to incorporate that in the interview because, inquiring minds want to know, like, okay, you're intentional, you're intelligent, you are someone who's, numerical. So you've got your life figured out on this balance sheet. So where does the marriage and the kids and the family, fit in for the younger women that are trying to decide? They graduate on Sunday, and I've got a mentee right now who's, I'm not gonna put her business out there, but they are getting asked these questions of, hey, are you ready to get married? Right now, you graduate from college on Saturday. And a few years ago, I was all for pro-marriage soon as a guy asked, but now, with that financial piece, it's huge. So having I've got financial backing as well. So having that financial understanding, what has been the hugest obstacle for you to take any of these situationships to the next level?
So when I would say first, when it comes to a relationship, you have to establish a solid foundation for yourself. Because a lot of times what's happened for me in a past situation, I wasn't present, and I'm grinding, I'm working toward this 4.0, and it can take away, and then I'm being involved in certain things. So if you're not already established, a relationship could be a distraction. You want that attention, and you want to open yourself up, because like me, I'm 33 years old, and I want another child or two. I mean, I want to get married, but dating and relationships, it takes time. It's like, I'm not on a time clock, but I don't want to be 40 with a newborn. I just don't.
I know that.
I'm trying to have my best life. My best life. Now, there's nothing
somebody like this.
There's nothing wrong with the 40-year-olds having babies.
Right,
it's okay.
No shade.
But for me,
hashtag no shade. That's about to be her hashtag.
No shade. I'm just being real. But I mean, I want to have something soon, but then soon may not be the soon that I want it to be. So
what advice would you give another young woman? Would you advise a woman that's in her mid-20s before she pursues that higher education? Now higher education is what you're pursuing, which is, it's not enough just to get the undergrad. Now you've got to get the master's or the PhD to get this career and get the life that you want. And now women are like that, are waiting until they're older to get married and have children. What advice would you give a 24-year-old or your 24-year-old self if you had an opportunity where you were in a stable, strong relationship with a man that wanted to marry you? Would you advise them to build with this person, or would you advise them to do what you just suggested, which is to get yours and then get the relationship after you get to where you're headed?
I mean, so if you're growing together, that makes a big difference. So if you're already in a situation, and say the person wasn't going after a degree or a top promotion or something, you can actually start to build with that person if you're all on the same page. But if it's just you single in the beginning of your process, the goal should be to stay single. When I started college, I ended up in a relationship and it was great, but prior to starting, my plan was no dating, no distractions, no relationship, because while you're trying to take care and handle your business, you still have someone else that's needing your time. So I would say, depending on where you are in your journey, to definitely put that on hold, because you can't give 100% to everything. And then that's going to create other issues for you. So you have your issues, or the sacrifices and things that come with pursuing whatever your career may be or education goals may be. And then you have your honeydew, your boo thing over here, who's like, baby, you'll never having time for me. So then that creates a disagreement with you all, and that adds stress.
Correct.
So I would definitely say, evaluate the situation, understand what you're going for, and hey, give it time.
Right. So if you only had two choices,
love
or money.
Love or money?
Ooh, I put you on the spot. Yes. If you had to choose either or, which would you choose?
Love.
All women want love. But money don't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, we need the money. We need the coins too.
Right,
like,
right.
Absolutely. I say love because love is more of an action. It's something that you do. It's not something that you say. So, India, if I loved you, you're going to see it in my action.
Absolutely.
So,
and if I can interject, the Bible, so you know I'm a minister,
Yes,
I got to
yes,
put some preacher in there. The Bible refers to, and I can't give you the scripture right now, I preached on it a couple of videos ago, but Paul says that we're not to love each other in talk, but we're to love each other in deed.
Absolutely.
And that is, and I'm going to find out the scripture because I don't like just quoting scripture and not backing it up with proof, but that's what we're taught, is that a lot of people just say, oh, I love you. Oh, yeah, I love you. Oh, I'm going to marry you one day, whatever. But the actual action shows someone that you're serious.
Absolutely. And I teach my son all the time, you know, he's like, Mom, I love you.
Show me.
Show me. And I always ask him, how do you love me? He'll say, not doing the things that makes you unhappy, not, you know, lying to you. He'll say things like that, you know, because it really is an action. You could say you love me, but your actions can say something different. You know, when it comes to money, that can disappear any day. Then, like, just like I was fired from my job and there was no money. You know, being a full-time student, sacrificing. I'm not working full-time, so there's no money.
Correct.
So money can lead you in the wrong way.
Correct.
If you have the wrong mindset.
Right. So what I think I hear you saying is that the foundation to your life plan is fueled by love. It's fueled by the things that you love, achieving that love, which is actually, you'll see in the book I gifted you, the second step. The first step is having faith in yourself, which you did. You saw your cousin, sister,
my god sister,
graduating, single mom of 3, and something it ignited something in you.
Absolutely.
And you know, you had enough faith in your abilities and in your higher purpose to say, I got to get more than this. I've got a pretty good job. I've got, you know, I'm a great mom, but I want something more. And then, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and it wasn't even about me.
Right.
It was about creating something solid for my son, this
and
legacy,
love.
this empire, because he needs to see this more than I do.
Yeah.
You know, because today is a totally different time.
Correct.
So it was all about him.
Correct. And he'll see that on Sunday. And then, you know, that love component, you know, is the next step, because after you activate your faith and you start doing the things that, you know, truly are in your alignment, then you have to ask and self-reflect and say, well, why am I doing this?
Right.
Who do I love? Right. What do I love enough to get up every day? And even when I lost my job, you were faced with a fork in the road.
Absolutely.
And you chose to stand on something that meant more to you than just the current situation. And that's love, and that's what my whole campaign is about. This you know, this year is re-educating. Definitely when it comes to sisters, you know, this whole theme of loving thy sister, and that, you know, women, you know, really are being championed right now. They're really being loved on. They're really being celebrated. But there are, and I'm discovering as a minister, there's a lot of women that are hurting and that are in the process of healing from bad relationships, from domestic violence, from being a single mom. Like you touched on that earlier, of some of it was past hurt, past baggage, that now coming into your season. I mean, this is your season. Absolutely. You're single. And that's not a negative. It's just a really honest and great place to be in, because now you have that career behind you, and now the next step is, you know, you don't have to worry about getting up and going to class and doing all these other things. You can focus on having a life again.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the spaces that I'm in right now, you've got so many driven people that they are not talking about goal setting in the space that we're talking about it. It's like, oh, look, you've achieved your career goals, but we're not talking about the personal goals until they get married. There's no space in between that gray area of what are we to do as single, unwed women, 33, 40 years old, you know, and we're not in a relationship. What does our identity look like? Are we to add more responsibilities on our plate? Who represents us? Who champions us? Because, you know, right now, working harder and adding more goals and things seems to be the trend. Like, even with you, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit, because, you know, you're going right into your PhD. You know, from 5 years in school already. So when do you get to have fun and life and
right,
enjoying that.
And so that's the thing, you know, I'm always evaluating. And, you know, if I don't go start my PhD this fall, I'm like, I'll take a year off because that's a rigorous program. And I mean, the horror stories I've heard about a PhD, I'm just like, what am I getting myself up? Like, what am I setting myself up for? So I am taking that into consideration because I've sacrificed so much just being in school, maintaining a 4.0. And I say that because that's not easy. Like,
not at all.
I mean,
tell them, share and let them know some things that you juggled while you were in school.
So, while I'm in school, of course, full-time mom. I was working also throughout my time at Virginia State. I was the president of the Beta Gamma Sigma International Business Honor Society, also holding presidency under the Business Professionals of America at the same time. A part of the Dean's Advisory Board. I later became the president of the Alpha Epsilon chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And that in itself, that was my biggest challenge, maintaining that. So I'm the face of this chapter, and I'm having to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And we know that within the Divine Nine Greek life, there's a lot of incidents of hazing and things going on, and that's not something that we're about. So just making sure that we're promoting positivity within the, you know, the sorority. And that was my biggest challenge because it was, and my line sister and my line was about 64 of us, was 64 of us. And so being the president of a chapter that large, maintaining my education, my GPA, working, my son's life, like that was a very, very stressful time for me. Being a president, I think I probably stepped down like 1,000 times. And I had my advisor, she was great. She's just like, no, you got this. You can do this. Don't do this. And, you know, when I look back, my term ended December 31st, 2018. Honey, I was happy. Yes, because, you know, looking back at it, though, on a serious note, had I given up, I wouldn't have gained what I needed from the situation. And I'm like, I know I'm a leader. I've been a leader. I was born a leader. I know when I go out into the workforce, I'm going to be a leader. So I need to be able to get through these moments of being a president over 63 other young ladies. And if I can deal with 63 women, I can conquer anything. Because we're not the easiest to get along with because we are very confident and, you know, we know a whole lot. And, you know, especially for me, at the time that I was in my presidency, I was the oldest. So I'm 32 and I have my line sisters are anywhere from 18 to 20. So me
with life experience to offer.
And so me being a little more mature or a little older, it was kind of like, okay, how is this gonna work? Because I'm business minded. And, you know, everybody, because I didn't go to school when I was younger because I knew I wanted to go. I wanted to become an AKA, and I wanted to go to all the parties. So I definitely wasn't going to be focused on anything about other than strolling and stepping. You know, and so how do I, you know, get the importance of the business side and the social side and kind of create some balance? So that in itself was a struggle for me in the beginning. But through it all, like I made it through, like I finished, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm glad that.
Well, congratulations! I know it was hard, but you made it.
And then Jeep in my grade, because I'm like, I'm not letting anything get in the way of this, you know.
Great. So last question. I got one last question. So I've got a love benefit coming up next Valentine's Day, and it is to raise money for the 3 passions that are near and dear to my heart. The first is supporting faith-based businesses. So the second one is veganism. I'm a vegan. I'm an advocate for veganism. I think it requires you to be disciplined, which is what you are an ambassador for right now. It took a remarkable amount of discipline for you to do all the things that you've accomplished. And then mental health. That's something, again, with discipline, all these goals, all these life goals, it can become too much. And I know a lot of students, a lot of young people, and myself included, I've had my bouts with depression. So I know how important that advocacy is. We're in Mental Health Awareness Month. So I may have a date for you, girl. Okay. So I'm going to throw it out there to all just curious. Because the brothers listening in see this beautiful, young, vivacious woman, but there's something, I'm feeling it in the spirit, there's something maybe in the back of their head, like either asking, why is she single? That's something I've gotten in my past. Or they are curious of, what does this ideal man look like? So if I were to try to matchmake you, because my whole theme for my benefit is love thy sister, and I'm going to put these brothers on the spot to take a woman like you out for Valentine's Day, come to a positive event, honor you, and that's something that I want to gift to all the remarkable women that I'm meeting this year. So what does he look like? What's he doing with his life? What is this dream guy that it would take to sweep you off your feet? Oof.
Okay, India.
Right.
She's coming with these questions. Ideal. I don't know. So, ideal. I'm all about honesty.
I'm talking about fun. I'm talking about let's start with the shallow stuff.
Okay, so let's get it. If you're shorter than 5'9", I'm sorry.
So you gotta be tall. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Tall. Because I love to wear heels.
All right. There you go.
Sorry, I'm just not.
You didn't apologize. Look, this is your dream guy.
I'm not at Kevin Hart and Nico stage.
Right.
I don't even think money could have me do that.
Right.
But
so 5'9" and above.
Yes,
all
absolutely.
Right. You like long hair? You like cut hair?
I like a clean cut. Nice beard.
Okay.
Like I love a little beard.
Okay.
Action.
Beard gang. Y'all hear that? Beard gang. # beard gang. Okay.
Absolutely. Teeth.
All right.
I am something about teeth, like honey. If you can't look in the mirror and see that something ain't right with those teeth, then I'm not the one for you. I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm not. I'm not the one.
I'm sorry, it's hilarious.
Oh gosh. No, but I'm serious. I'm serious getting the teeth right.
All right. What else? What else you got? How do you like him to dress, smell, carry himself?
Oh yeah,
like,
I love some good smelling cologne.
Yes,
like you definitely might get me with that one. As far as the dress,
you like sporty, you like athletic, you like business. What do you like?
I like business. Okay. I like sporty. Now look, guys, the sweatpants showing prints. I ain't with that, but I mean it's good to look at in the private time, But
I know exactly what she means. Oh my God.
Yeah,
okay.
But
so you like a brother put together.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes a rugged look can look good if you.
All right. So does he have to meet your level of education? Can he be self-employed? Can he be a dope boy on the corner?
Oh, no, I'm scared of dope boys. Sorry, nothing against you, but, I love my life.
I mean, dope boys are awesome. I never dated one, but from all the friends of mine that are in low places.
Yeah, I mean, hey, to each his own. Nothing against the dope boys.
I love dope
boys. Get that money, just be smart.
Put that money. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm joking, y'all. I'm so joking. Please do not hold me. All
right. But I wouldn't say you have to have the same level of education. Mm-hmm. But have a desire to want more.
Okay.
Because we can grow together.
Mm-hmm. But what about, and I hear the bros saying it right now, what about, all right, I can't give you my time because I'm out here grinding. Which would you prefer? Would you prefer a guy that gives you his time, but he may not, be moving and excelling at the pace that you're moving at? Or would you prefer the guy to be out here working all the time and you're working all the time and then y'all get together once the grind is done? Which is your preference?
I need to balance a little bit of both.
Okay. So you need, okay.
And I think what happens on the education side, as far as being on the same level, mm-hmm. I think a lot of men have the mentality that they are the breadwinners or they the king of the castle. Mm-hmm. So what happens is they have an issue with you making more or mm-hmm. you doing more. So I mean, I guess you would have to be up there because
Okay.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, we can grow together.
Okay.
But if you don't have that same confidence in yourself, or you have an issue with me possibly making more money than you just temporarily, then I don't know if that would work.
Okay. And what type of dater are you? Are you the Netflix and chill? You worked a long week, so you just kind of want to do something at the house and prefer a man to cook for you and do little sweet nothings? Or are you the got to be in the center of a party and show off and Instagram it up? Like, what's that?
I'm real chill, laid back. Netflix and chill is cool. I do like to go out. I like comedy, and I do love to dance. I need to get some salsa lessons. Like, I really want to do that. I like to have a good time. I like to enjoy life. I'm a family person.
Okay.
And I like doing things. I love going to the water. I can't swim, but I love sit by the beach, and just have a good time. Like,
so what's the one thing, we talked about love earlier, what's the one thing that it would take for a man to really impress you? And that would be it. I know I asked you a series of questions that piled on top of that one, but what is your thing that really, you're like, this brother he got something, what can you remember the last time you were in love? Like, what was that thing that really sparked it for you?
he was consistent.
Whew, that's a nice one.
Consistency is very important. And he showed me his desire for me. And it was nothing that was questioned. It wasn't I haven't heard from you today. It was hey babe,
I miss you.
I miss you. Think
about you.
Or
Yeah.
something. It was consistent.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times with relationships, people get comfortable.
Yeah.
But he was consistent.
Are you consistent?
I'm very consistent.
Yeah.
I'm clingy. I love love. Like, I'm a hopeless romantic.
Okay.
So I'm consistent.
Okay.
And I think as women, it's easy for us to be consistent than it is for a man.
No, it's not. I'll tell you why. I'll give you my little.
Really?
We having girl talk right now. I'm sorry.
Girl
We are
talk.
having I'll tell you why we're not consistent. Because we're pretty. Because guys are always like, you are an overachiever, girl. Your resume was. I can literally roll it across this room. We don't know how it always feels to put the effort in, meaning sometimes maybe a guy needs us to take them out, or maybe a guy wants us to listen to them, like we've had a rough day, we had an intense week, and maybe they didn't do or don't do as much as we do on that level, but maybe something that's important to them.
Right.
We don't know sometimes how it feels consistently when that guy just needs that me time with his boys or with himself or by himself. And consistently, we're like, no, spend more time with me. No, I want to, that's what I've experienced of being inconsistent. It's like, we like to schedule everything. We like you said, when we first started this interview, you like to know the outcome.
I used to.
Right. That doesn't work too well in dating, because dating that you can't control the outcome. You can't control how feelings feel from one minute to the next. And I'm not a relationship expert. It's not a relationship. It's just more so, we have to bear some of the responsibility of being single, because we kind of spend more time thinking about what we want out of a relationship, and we have this expectation in our mind, and when this guy has no clue what that expectation is, we don't give him any slack.
So I think what happens is the communication piece, because if you're asking the questions of what is this, what are we doing, if you know what those boundaries and things are, I think that helps to get rid of the inconsistency when it comes to us as women. For me, I wouldn't say that I'm inconsistent.
I don't know you.
I don't think that I'm inconsistent when it comes to those things, just because of how my father taught me when it comes to a man, or approaching relationships. Like, he's always talking about, you gotta continue to date. Like, people get in relationships and they forget about the friendship in the relationship that got you to that place. So it's kind of like, I'm conscious of the needs of the man. Now, it all depends. The homeboys hanging and all that, it just depends on what you're doing, how often you're doing it. Like, does it make sense? Are you hanging with your single friends? Like, it really depends on the situation.
It does. It's very, very unique to his situations. There's no science to it. So I'm going to put a pin in our interview there because I'm interested to see what their responses are thus far. And I still have some burning questions about like your relationships with other women. You mentioned, being the mentor to 64 women that you were 8-9 years their senior, things like that. So I think you really represent that space well as someone who, has knocked it out of the park. You were faced with probably every adversity out there, and you didn't just graduate. You graduated valedictorian. That's huge. So I'm going to stop the interview here, and I'm going to see if my viewers are interested in knowing kind of like the second part of digging in a little bit deeper in your relationship with your parents and relationship with your child's father. And just, we never talk about the personal adversities. Right. All you see is the product of your dedication and your successes. But what I will tell you is most of the people that are suffering in silence when it comes to mental health are women that are in our space.
Absolutely.
They're super driven. They're putting all of these goals on their plate. And I literally, full disclosure, I literally had to Google what fun was. Like what fun was supposed to have been about a year ago. I'm not lying. I had gotten so far away from being uncalculated, like not always planning and all that crap, that I had gotten totally away from like just living.
Right.
And I really wanted your perspective on what living your best life looks like, and the advice that another woman as your peer or someone who's inspired by your story, now they know you, and now they're gonna befriend you.
Right.
And see that you're a real person and you had real things that you had to deal with, and they're going to be tracking your progress from here. So this is awesome, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And she is part of our, can I get this? So, in my book, so we're gifting her, and I'll photograph, thank you. And I'll photograph her in this and share it. But this is our love campaign. I've partnered with Grind Pray, which is a faith-based company that I support. It's near and dear to my heart. They are awesome. They do a lot in Petersburg. And since I've moved here, I have had the pleasure of discovering how powerful God's hand is on this brand. And when I met the owner, Uriah, which he brands all the back of his shirts with this name that is Hebrew for God is my light, and it's got the olive in the top, which is the I am the beginning and the end. And you'll see me and a lot of other people promoting this message of love towards the end of this month going into June. These shirts start coming out after June 16th. And I wanted to make sure that we gifted this to you. The Lord gave me this love campaign. This is all about what we talked about tonight. It's not just about relationships. It's not about following our passions. This particular campaign is based on John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. That we didn't even touch on faith and what you had to do in that capacity to get to where you are. But I'll photograph her in this. I believe that you're an ambassador for grinding and praying.
Absolutely.
And demonstrating love for yourself. I mean, that's huge. That
Absolutely.
is the biggest thing that God wants me to accomplish with this, is to show other women that despite being a single mom, despite being single, despite having all these adversities and having to give up a former career to pursue this new one, you did it.
Absolutely.
You did it. You did it. And
She
you have
did
every right to just sit back and just appreciate what you have accomplished, because you, God, your support system, all of you guys are responsible for where you are, where you're about to be at on Sunday. So I'm happy for you. This is your gift. And then I'm gifting you my book. You don't need this, so if you want to pay it for it, this is private. Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Cry but don't quit. I know you probably had moments where you wanted to do both.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's a handbook, and it's all about living your best life. What I love about it, even though I'm biased because I wrote it, but what I love about it is that it doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter, who you are. Once you get past Sunday, it starts over.
Absolutely.
And this book is just like that. Like, I don't know, if you're a heavy Bible reader, but scriptures that you read 5 years ago, if you read them now, they have a whole new meaning.
Absolutely.
That's how this book works. And it's all, both of these are anointed by God. So hopefully when you wear it or when you see it in your closet or you see it on your bookshelf, it just reminds you of how awesome you are. All right. So don't you stop being awesome. And I hope that we can definitely remain friends and go to some conferences together.
Absolutely.
And, you know, once you become this professor, I'll come to your class and be like, yo, I want y'all to see this interview I did of her. You know, you're definitely like Michelle Obama level.
Yes, Michelle, hey girl. No,
All right.
Absolutely.
Is there anything left that you want to?
No, thanks for having me.
No
You know, I didn't think that my post on LinkedIn was going to get me to an interview, but I truly, truly appreciate it because I do want to be the light in someone else's darkness, and I've been able to do that, and I have a story, and I'm confident, like 100% confident that I know my story is going to help somebody else, you know, because it helped me, and I didn't even know what was happening when I started this journey, but it was definitely the right season. Timing is everything, and it was definitely what had to happen.
Right.
So I just appreciate the opportunity.
No problem, Tiffany. You're awesome. All right, guys. If y'all have any questions, Banks says.
Hey, Banks.
Banks is up the street.
That was
probably
my first
still.
photographer.
He was.
Yes.
You know what?
Hey,
I keep
Banks.
coming up. So Banks has been mentoring me on photography,
Oh, wow.
and he's in town flipping a property right up the street.
I saw him the other day when I was at the light.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's doing big things in
Yes.
Petersburg. It definitely is a small world. Let's see who else we have before I sign off. We got go get that PhD while you still motivated. Stay
Absolutely.
encouraged. Thank you, Terry. See who else we have. I don't want to flash you guys. Sorry. Everybody else was just watching. Watching. I think that's all the comments we have. Yeah, oh, here we go. Napoleon said, God bless the child that have their own. All right. Have to hustle. That's
Absolutely.
Napoleon. I can relate to losing that job. That's Hal.
Okay.
And got your book on the way. Tyree. Hello, Tyree, Gerard. I think we're good. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we're going to go ahead and end, and I'm going to take us some pictures. Y'all have a good night.